Next, the bluest of blue states has elected a Republican to fill the Senate seat held for nearly half a century by Democrat Ted Kennedy.
Coming up, what this epic upset could mean for the future of our health care next.
The politically blue Bay State goes red tonight. A Republican takes the U.S. Senate seat held by Democrats for decades.
Breaking down what Governor Paterson's budget plan will mean for you and your wallet. If he gets his way, what's getting cut and what's getting taxed.
And friends and foes turn out tonight as Joe Bruno raises money to fight his corruption conviction. Good evening. I'm Greg Floyd.
And I'm Dori Marlin. The race for the new senator in Massachusetts is over, and the Republican gets the job. Not all the precincts in Massachusetts are reporting at this hour, almost all, but Democrat Martha Coakley has conceded, and Republican Scott Brown is the senator-elect from Massachusetts.
There are the numbers on your screen. 99% of precincts reporting. Republican Scott Brown has 52% of the vote. Democrat Martha Coakley 47%. And as you've been hearing for days, this election isn't just about leading the people of the Bay State. This race has national implications as well.
And with that said, Drew Levinson joins us live now in Boston with more on the big doings there. Drew.
Well, Dori and Greg, Martha Coakley's headquarters are now just about empty tonight. The Democrat losing to the Republican Scott Brown in a very Democratic state. Now, this is a statement not only in Massachusetts, but across the country.
Okay, here we go.
Scott Brown. Democrats defeat in Massachusetts and in Washington. The AP projects the Republican the winner of the special election for Ted Kennedy's Senate seat. An unexpectedly large number of voters braved the elements to cast their ballots. The poll showed a race too close to call. At first, Democrat Martha Coakley had been considered a lot to succeed the late Senator Kennedy. But Brown ran an aggressive campaign, harnessing anger over the economy and President Obama's health care plan. Coakley's defeat means President Obama's party will no longer have the votes in the Senate to pass a final version of health care reform or push through White House priorities without Republican help. President Obama made a last-minute trip Sunday to campaign for Coakley.
He actually just called me, and before I came on stage, to say that we can't win them all.
Brown made big inroads with independent voters.
I'm just very displeased, and a change would do good.
Despite this loss, Democrats insist they will find a way to pass health care reform. But the upset means they have lots to worry about with midterm elections looming in November. Big question tonight is how soon will Scott Brown be seated in the U.S. Senate? Greg and Dori.
Drew, also a lot of talk now, again, going back to the Democrats, just about how did this happen in the first place. Of course, Coakley looked like a front runner all along the way.
Dori, a lot of finger pointing going on tonight. You're absolutely right. And many Democrats are accusing her campaign of running a sluggish campaign. She was so far ahead, how could she lose? But now they're going to have to wonder and question, how could she lose? At the same time, you look at what's happening in this campaign. They are now pointing fingers toward the Obama administration, toward the White House, saying that really their agenda, there was no plan there, and they didn't help her at all.
All right, it'll be dissected for days. Drew Levinson, live in Boston. Thank you very much tonight.
Well, as Drew just said, with a Republican now taking over the seat, the president's domestic agenda, especially his health care reform bill, could be in trouble.
Yeah, Brad Hayes joins us now from our newsroom. He is an assistant professor of poli-sci at Union College. And Brad, thank you very much for joining us tonight. So what is this? Is this a referendum on President Obama, a referendum on health care, or just a reflection on what some call the lackadaisical campaign of Martha Coakley?
Well, in many ways, it seems like it's the perfect storm. First, it was a poorly run campaign by the Coakley staff, really just very lackluster, and she took a vacation after the primary victory. It's just not a very good way to go about running a campaign. But second, you have, of course, a special election occurring right when the Democrats are at their least popular because of the controversy surrounding health care reform. And you know, you have these combined forces that really affected the outcome of this particular election.
All right, Brad, let me ask you this. Scott Brown said just a few minutes ago in his speech he's ready to go to Washington without delay, stressing that without delay. But will there be a delay? Will Democrats try to keep him from being sworn in for as long as possible to try to push through health care reform quickly?
Well, there's only so much they can do. Under federal law, they must wait 10 days to allow for overseas and military ballots to come in. So he can't be seated before 10 days. After that, there is an extra 5 days built in for the certification process. So it could take up to 15 days, but we're really looking at the latest point being February 3rd, if I did my math correctly, in which he can be seated.
Okay, Brad, quickly, one sentence answer. Is Scott Brown suddenly not just the new senator from Massachusetts, but also the big player in the Republican Party now?
He's definitely a player.
All right, that was less than a sentence. Thank you very much, Brad Hayes, the assistant professor of political science at Union College. Thanks, Brad. All right, New York Senator Charles Schumer was quick to react to the Republican victory in Massachusetts tonight. Schumer, of course, a Democrat. He said the country is speaking to us, and we will show we hear them in the agenda we pursue over the next year. Our focus must be on jobs, the economy, and delivering for the middle class. There is sure to be fallout from the election in the coming days, so stay with CBS 6 News in those coming days for the most comprehensive coverage of this Republican win in Massachusetts.
Elsewhere tonight, ethics reform has been a hot topic of late. Both New York legislators and the governor vowing to clean up Albany a month after Joe Bruno was convicted on 2 corruption charges. Tonight, supporters of the former state Senate Majority Leader turned out for an invitation-only fundraiser in Colony, but there were a few uninvited guests there as well. Ash Reardon has our story.
They carried mops and brooms and called for a cleanup of government, protesting outside an event to raise money for Joe Bruno's legal defense fund.
On every single issue, corruption is at the bottom of it, and Joe Bruno is just the poster child.
The few dozen protesters were kept far from the Desmond Hall, where inside Bruno supporters gathered to spend hundreds of dollars apiece to support him. And it appears he may need the money. Bruno reported spending more than $700,000 in campaign funds on his legal bills, and he's vowed to appeal his conviction on 2 corruption charges. Now, this protest represents quite a few different viewpoints, but one of the underlying issues may be that one of the people organizing the event was Joe Bruno's appointee to a commission that oversees legislative ethics.
The implication, which I know you didn't mean, is how can you stand up next to someone who may be guilty?
Legislators have proposed an ethics reform bill that would set up a new commission to oversee legislators, including an office that would have more power to investigate potential ethics violations among legislators. Do you think that that goes far enough?
I'm going to leave that up to the leaders to deal with and the governor to deal with. It's awfully easy to second guess kind of what goes on in life.
In Colony, Ash Reardon, CBS 6 News.
Soda and cigarettes could soon cost you more money. Governor Paterson rolled out his state budget plan today, and he is calling for higher taxes, fees, and cuts in state aid to help deal with a $7.4 billion deficit. Here is how it all adds up. The governor wants to cut $1 billion in school aid, about $1 billion more in health care spending. $1 could be added to the tax paid for a pack of cigarettes, and a can of soda would run you 12 cents more.
I think the public recognizes that if we justify where the taxes are going, and they're not just going into the amorphous general fund, that they're going directly to health care, that the public will support it.
Governor Paterson is bringing back the idea of selling wine in grocery stores to help boost sales tax revenue. State lawmakers will now go through the plan and put in their own 2 cents. New York State made the deadline and got its application in this afternoon for $700 million in federal Race to the Top funding for education. But what state lawmakers couldn't do was reach any compromise on how to raise the state's cap on charter schools. And without raising that cap, New York's chances of actually winning that $700 million are said to be diminished. Now, just today, President Obama asked Congress for another $1.3 billion in Race to the Top education funding.
Tonight marks 1 week since the devastating earthquake in Haiti, and still a very long road ahead. More aid and military troops are steadily arriving in the battered country. The latest death toll there, about 75,000 people, 28 of them Americans. Also, though, amazing stories of survival coming out of Haiti. A woman in her 70s pulled from the wreckage after a canine search and rescue team found her. Looting is going on in some parts of Port-au-Prince, but the UN says it is not widespread. Another security issue, the tent cities that have popped up for survivors left homeless by the earthquake. And tonight, the students and staff at UAlbany are remembering the victims of last week's earthquake. The campus community came together this evening at this candlelight vigil held near the campus center. The school says the situation in Haiti has affected the lives of many on campus, with family and friends still living in that country.
A local builder is getting ready to head out to work with a medical team that will treat the wounded from the Haiti earthquake. Robert Courtney of Robert Courtney Enterprises in Saratoga will travel to the Dominican Republic this week with a team of doctors and hopefully a lot of supplies.
The wounded are being brought over from Haiti into the Dominican Republic because there is a lot of, they still have an infrastructure, there's still power and water and all that stuff. So, so basically we're going down to start treating all the casualties that are being brought over.
Courtney will handle all the construction and equipment needs of that medical team. His company is also looking for local donations, supplies, or money. If you want to help, we have the information on our website, cbs6albany.com. One well-known crooner is contributing to the Haiti relief effort from right here in our area.
Life goes on, another dawn is breaking.
Yes, that is singer-songwriter James Taylor, and he has now added a second benefit concert in Great Barrington, Massachusetts. He announced his first show scheduled for this Friday this morning. The tickets for it sold out in an hour and a half, and now his second show announced tonight is set for this Saturday. Tickets for it go on sale tomorrow.
And please don't forget that coming up this Thursday, we are teaming up with SEFCU to raise money for relief efforts in Haiti. We'll be airing a Haiti disaster relief telethon Thursday, January 21st, throughout our evening newscast. That's between 5 and 7 o'clock.
And SEFCU, you saw there just a second ago, is going to be matching the first $25,000 in donations. Just another reason to tune in and make sure that you got your phone working.
Yeah, whatever you pledge, $5 becomes 10, 25 becomes 50. It's
Beautiful.
a great deal, so tune in Thursday night. We'll see you then for that.
Meantime, stay tuned with us right here because Steve LaPointe is coming back here next with your full CBS 6 Instant Doppler forecast.
Also, it's a birthday mystery dating back to at least 1949, but tonight there is a new question. Is Edgar Allan Poe's mystery visitor Nevermore?
Your CBS 6 Instant Doppler forecast with Chief Meteorologist Steve LaPointe.
I am expecting lots of clouds to start Wednesday. Still even some flurries around the Capital District, too. Most of those will tend to retreat to lake effect and mountain effect areas through the afternoon, but a passing flurry during the morning. Temperatures in the upper 20s at 8 o'clock will turn into the mid-30s during the afternoon, so it's not a cold day. And with any luck, we'll get a couple of breaks of sunshine developing, mainly in the valleys during the afternoon. We'll see if it pans out with a rather gusty west to northwesterly wind developing. Here's a scenario. We've got surface low pressure now moving along the Maine coast. That will intensify into a fairly strong storm, dump a lot of snow on Maine, increase the pressure gradient here, and cause the rather gusty conditions across the region tomorrow. Upper level low pressure is still to our west, and this is the main feature that has yet to move through, and will probably pretty much take the entire day tomorrow for that to do so. Now on the eastern side, that's where we're seeing a scattering of flurries, patches of light snow, and some drizzle, and that's pretty much our weather overnight tonight into the morning hours coming up on Wednesday. And once the storm system kind of sits on us and then moves east, we'll start to see some drier air working in later in the day. Not a lot left with this storm to work with, so in terms of any snowfall accumulations tonight, I wouldn't expect much more than an additional coating in a couple of spots. And again, it's going to be pretty hit or miss at that. Here's the radar picture now over the past couple of hours. Some light snow here in Warren, Washington, Rutland, and Bennington counties. Flurries, patches of drizzle elsewhere. And it's one of those scenarios where we'll see these little patches of light snow kind of flaring up and then dying out through the overnight tonight and into the morning hours on Wednesday. Temperatures still just a little bit above freezing at Albany, 33. Poughkeepsie at 34. Glens Falls now 32, with Rutland at 30 and Pittsfield in Berkshire County at 31 degrees. So gradually tonight we will slide back into the upper 20s, a couple of the cooler spots as low as the mid-20s. And that's about as low as we go. 13 is the normal low, so once again running well above the average with all the moisture in the atmosphere, the clouds, the fog, and the periodic patches of nuisance light snow and flurries tonight. Trivia sky forecast for tomorrow. Again, pretty gray start, but through the afternoon in the valleys, sky should brighten a little bit for partial sun sunshine. I'm not expecting a lot. Any flurries, snow showers during the day retreat to the Adirondacks, western Mohawk Valley, western Catskills, also the higher terrain into western New England, with temperatures for the most part mid-30s, except around Kingston, where temperatures should top off in the upper 30s. Now, Thursday's looking good for everybody. We all dry out, and we all see at least some sunshine with temperatures between 30 and 35. High pressure slips in from southeastern Canada. Looks to me like this high will very well act as an effective block to the developing storm on Thursday to our south and keep it out of here on Friday. It'll be a close call still with the low pressure passing to our south on Friday. We'll see some clouds, but I think snow will not materialize except maybe well south of Albany for a brief time. But again, it's looking good for a miss with this one. So Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and most of Sunday looking dry. It's low 30s until Sunday. Then we pop into the upper 30s. Sunday night, Monday, that's the next storm. It looks like a lock with at least some ice and then a transition over to rain as we head into the day Monday with temperatures pushing 40. So a different kind of storm than we've seen this season, the one coming up Sunday night and Monday with strong southerly flow pushing the temperatures up. So snow, a very low probability with that.
And it's a lock.
That one looks good, yeah. Even
That's
6
different.
days out, it looks like a lock.
Okay.
We're trusting you.
Thanks,
Thank you, Steve. Well, it is a mystery tradition that's been going on for more than 60 years, but today it might have ended.
A mysterious visitor who for decades has left roses and cognac at the grave of Edgar Allan Poe has failed to show up for the anniversary of the writer's birthday. The Baltimore graveyard tradition dates back to at least 1949 and has never been interrupted before. In the past, the mysterious visitor had always appeared between midnight and 5:30 a.m. on January 19th, Poe's birthday, but today he or she was a no-show.
Kind of gives you the chills.
Kind of sad.
Yeah. All right. Well, how about from Poe to pot? Coming up next, another SUNY professor busted for growing marijuana.